all the mothers.
Thank you.
Mom, mother and daughter, look at that. That's really exciting. So, Mother's Day. We started out with the song, Mother and Child Reunion, and it's like, wow, it's a sad day, what's going on? Because the original idea of Mother's Day started with mothers saying, no more war. We want to have Mother's Day where we're going to stop sending our sons, and now sons and daughters, to war. And it's a Mother's Day, a mother's way of us saying, stop this. You know? And then it turned into a Hallmark, you know. Get your mom a gift, you know. Let all the guilt be activated and everybody do all crazy stuff, you know. But let's look at it differently. Let's try to take this idea and bring about something that really needs to happen for all of us, is to balance out this idea of divinity. This idea of divinity has been so masculated that we forgot a half of ourselves, men and women both. Forgot a total half of ourselves. And we all talk about being one and being in the oneness and being whole when we are leaving out half of ourselves. And we need to bring it back. And we need to bring it back into that concept of the divine. Now, in our Words of Wisdom, we hear this story from a story. The Myth of Babylon is not a non-fiction book, right? It is a fictional story, but yet it is based on this idea, this concept. And at the end of the book, after this woman is trying to bring the goddess in, and everybody listen to the goddess, and don't let that masculine god come about, she turns around after fighting it, it's beaten down, and there is this beautiful statue of the goddess in a different form, and she's standing there patiently. She says, I got this. I've always got it. And that's the idea of mother with the divine. I've always got you. Unconditionally. No requirements. And that's in our other part of our Words of Wisdom. That is channeled work. That is supposed to be channeled as Mother Mary, as a master, a spiritual descended master, that is still looking over us and helping us and guiding us. And she says specifically, use my faith. You feel like you don't have it? Use mine. And many times when someone has ever said that to you, it helps. It helps when you lose faith, when you lose your way, when you can't find your way. That if you use this other faith, if you use this divine faith, it's the immaculate concept. She holds an immaculate concept of each one of us. That's her job as an ascended master. What a beautiful thing. Not having to be perfect and pure and, and all this other stuff that goes along with the Immaculate Conception and all those ideas, but to know that there is a being of light and love that is saying, I hold you with an immaculate concept of who you are, of your truth, of your divinity. You see, we have this thing, we have the masculine and feminine, but we also have, within the masculine and feminine, we have the divine masculine and divine feminine, and we have the profane masculine and the profane feminine. Now, the profane masculine is this tough guy, I know my job, and I'm going to put everybody in their place, and we're going to make sure everything is lined up, and, everybody follow the rules, and everything will be okay, and, and there's one over the other, and the competition, and all this other stuff. And then there's this profane feminine that is too meek and mild, and can't find her way, and lost, and this lost soul, and needy. So one is needy because I need someone to have control over, and one is needy because they are weak, and they can't do for themselves, and you get the two of them together, and nothing gets accomplished. At least not in our souls. Our souls, our spirits don't grow. Spiritual father is softer. So for men, usually the spiritual process is the relinquish of self, to find that softer, easier place that guides. The one that little boys used to have. We were at a restaurant the other night, and there was a boy, I think he was about 13, years old. and he's trying to lean against his dad at the restaurant, you know, be like all cozy with dad. And the dad kept pushing him away. Like, you know, not here. You know, we don't do that anymore. And so often that happens with boys, even by their fathers especially. And then it gets passed on by the mother. You know, you gotta be tough, you gotta be strong, and push, you know, can't be hugging and cozy with the little boys, right? They gotta get tough right away. And it's sad. And that's losing that divine male, right? That male that is caring and comforting and protective. And it gets hard. And meanwhile, the women, they get older, you need more protection, gotta watch out, the world is harsh, the world is bad, you know, and you gotta stay safe, so let me take the umbrella and cover you over. As the girls get older, there's more control over the girls. Right? As the boys get older, it's do more on their own. And we're split, we're divided. And we lose so many things, and each one of us lose different things in different ways. But all these aspects of gods and goddesses are all helpful aspects to help us bring back what we need. Right? To say, use mine. If you don't have it, use mine. So in our declaration of intent, I love the way Mirabai says, and she says, so use mine. So what do? We come to this place. She says, come, feast on the mercy of Kuan Yin. And we have Kuan Yin up there. There she is. From all these different traditions, right? From all these different places. She keeps saying, I'm still here. I got you. So feast on the mercy of Kuan Yin and the compassion of Tara. We got Queen Tara up here too. There she is, over here. So we're chanting for her in our Buddhist chanting now, every Tuesday morning. Dara tutare ture soha. Dara tutare ture soha. You know, we're chanting that. And as I chanted, we're connecting with the Dalai Lama. He loves his chants, one of his favorite chants. He chants it every day. So I'm thinking of like, all those Buddhas saying, Dara tutare ture soha. Dara tutare ture soha. Bring in that compassion. Help me to understand that divine feminine aspect of me. And Buddhism, we never thought it was like, had all these women powerful in it. And the brilliance of Sophia. Sophia is the wisdom right out of the Bible. Every time the Bible, whether you look at it from the Hebrew perspective or you look at it from a Christian perspective, every time it mentions something about wisdom, it goes she. The pronoun is always feminine for wisdom, for that wisdom of the heart. So how many times do we talk about this idea of that, the longest journey is from the head to the heart, right? Because the heart is feminine. That is the masculine. We understand the concepts, we do all the concepts, we read all the readings, we do all that, but opening our hearts is inviting the mother, inviting the feminine, inviting that in. And then she talks about the Shekinah, right? And then that shelter of the Shekinah. And right there in the Kabbalistic teachings, it talks about how as Adam and Eve are asked to leave the garden because they disobeyed the rules, right there we got the profound masculine coming in and saying, my way or the highway. And there's the divine feminine stepping in and saying, you're not kicking out my children. And they're saying, yes I am. She goes, well then if they go, I go. And she came. And never left. So she says, use mine. Use my faith. Use my support and help. So we go, break the bread of courageous prophet, Mother Mary. Courageous prophet. Holding this divine concept. Being there for her child no matter what. Which means she stood there under the cross. And watched as her child did what he chose to do. Now, as a mother who sat by the bedside of her son, who chose what he needed to do in his cancer, and he's going, I can only have a standing there. And to know that this was their journey, and to not try to change them or fix them, but to love them, even in the midst of that. That's great courage. Use her faith. What she says, use it. See, I've done it. Use it. Look at this power. Look at this kind of support that we have. It's miraculous. It is great. So, and dip into the spicy oils of the holy daughter Fatima. This is where drink yourself into the swoon and the songs of the ecstatic Bhakti poet Mirabai. Mirabai, Fatima, these were all women that had to follow all these rules. And they said, I'm not going to lose myself in the rules. Pawned off to be married, to be doing these things and having to being property. Didn't care. My heart belongs to the beloved. I stay with the beloved. No matter what you think, no matter where life takes me, I stay with the beloved. So much so that I write poetry, that I affect everybody around me. Everything changes because of what we are and what we're doing. We change the people around us. I've heard that for many years, and I'm just really excited about it. I love it when it trickles down to the kids, right? And it's so interesting because I got a text the other day at bingo, working bingo, and we have a family chat, and my oldest son says, just had a flashback of all of us in the car, this broken down station wagon, brown station wagon with a great door, and going to a Reiki class, and Mom blasting the song, I love myself the way I am, there's nothing you need to change, you'll always be the perfect me, there's nothing to rearrange, right? I've always got that. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can, and I love myself just the way I am. You get that, right? So, and it goes on. But, here it is, what is he, 43-year-old attorney, sending this YouTube, this song, to all his brothers and sisters to get a flashback to remember, right? It's just, it took him that many years to sink in. Because now in his life, I think we should use this stuff, But that's what it is. This time is, forget about time. Just do what you do now. Sink into the now and do it with the best that you can. No matter how anybody else is reacting to it or responding to it. Do it, give it from your heart. Give it with the mother, give it spicy, give it with ecstatic poetry, right? And then he says, and then sober up with the righteous brilliance of Saint Teresa of Avila. Saint Teresa, she was an intellect in a time when there weren't intellect. She was around the time of the Inquisition. She risked life and limb. She had a Jewish heritage in her line, and she was a Christian nun. And they were going around, they were looking for everybody. And what did she do? She just went into ecstasy and then used that to write brilliantly. You see statues of her, even in Avila. There's her writing. Right? One of the first women saints that was a woman who wrote in the Catholic tradition. Dance your behind off with the fierce goddess Kali. Now Kali, most of the time you see her just enjoying life. You want to see Kali? She is lounging out. She's taking it all in. But mess with her, mess with any of her kids, and she comes out. She wears a necklace of skulls, by the way. So this is what happens when you mess with Kali. She's got that fierce love, and then her majestic Durga, who rides the lion. And we have Durga. No, we have Lakshmi, but we do have Kali up here. So just all of these wonderful goddesses. And then she says, roll down into the boundless valley of the Tao. Why you include the Tao when you're talking about the sacred feminine? Because it's that part of inclusion. We don't talk about the sacred feminine to exclude. We talk about it to heal. We talk about it to include. We talk about it to be whole within ourselves and everyone else. This is why we speak of her. And then she says, even Buddha as woman, the Dharma taught by women. If you want to really know some really beautiful Buddhism, look up Pema Chodron. Pema Chodron's words. It simplifies, she simplifies this profound, intense philosophy and makes it really beautiful. And she starts out by telling us there's nothing we need to fix. Again, that idea, the divine feminine, that mother is telling us, you're absolutely perfect as you are. We need that. And if we don't believe it, use hers. Use her belief. Use her faith to get to that place. Right? And together we create this Sangha that gathers a circle of wild, welcoming women. You heard it in our opening, all the different women in this circle that were there throughout the ages. We keep coming, we keep showing up, and we don't need to do it in a loud, crazy way, but we need to do it with boundaries and with safety and with lots of unconditional love. And if you can't find it, find a mother, trust a mother, a goddess that can give it to you, because she's right there waiting to mother you. And so it is.